Hi, and welcome to a Lifestyle podcast, where we explore personal growth, high performance, and intentional living. I am Wasim Balani, and I believe life isn't just about getting through the day, it's about becoming fully alive in everything we do. Through my journey, whether in medicine as a heart rhythm cardiologist, cycling and running, or personal development, I have learned that success isn't just about reaching goals, but about who we become along the way. This podcast is here to inspire and challenge you to push your limits, cultivate discipline, and live with purpose. Join me each week as we dive into ideas, reflections, and practical strategies to help you grow into your best self. So let's get started. Hello, and welcome back to a Life Soul podcast. Today, I want to share with you something that really touched me this week. I was messaging my wife's cousin overseas. I've only met him once, but we've kept in touch. He's finishing medical school and has big dream, just like I once did, to apply for residency and specialize here in the United States. When I checked in on him, his response was raw and honest. He said the dream was there, but things were moving so slow. The challenges ahead looked overwhelming. His mind was all over the place, and he was filled with doubt. And in that moment, I told him something simple, but I think it's a message someone listening today needs to hear it too. I said, don't lose hope. The light at the end of the tunnel might be closer than you think. You know, we've all been in that place. We start chasing a dream. Maybe it's a career goal, a health goal, maybe building a family, or working on something deeply personal. And at first, the excitement is high. We're full of energy. But then reality hits. Things move slower than we want. Rejections come in. Obstacles get in the way. Our mind starts running in circles. What if I'm not good enough? What if this doesn't work out? Maybe I wasn't built for this challenge. And that's when we find ourselves in what I like to call the tunnel season. It's dark, it's long, and when you're inside, it feels like you'll never see the light again. But here's what's tricky about the tunnel. From inside, it feels endless, but in reality, the light is already there. It just hasn't come into view yet. When my wife's cousin told me about his doubts, I couldn't help but go back to my own journey. I remember when I was in his shoes. I was finishing medical school, studying for graduation exams, then for the USMLE exams. And honestly, it felt overwhelming and far-fetched at times. I then started the application process for residency, and I came to the United States for the interviews. This was the first time in my life I had ever left home. The first time leaving my parents' house, and here I was in a completely new country. I still remember those long bus rides, going from city to city for interviews. Sometimes I'd miss my connection and end up stuck overnight in a bus station. My budget was so tight that I had to figure out food, lodging, and transportation with a very little margin. And emotionally, it wasn't easy. I was navigating fear, loneliness, discouragement, all while carrying this huge dream on my shoulders. But deep down, one thing never changed. I had worked too hard to give up. I told myself, if I keep knocking on doors, one of them will open. And eventually it did. I matched into a great residency program, one I had ranked high. Looking back now, I realized that the light at the end of the tunnel was always there. I just couldn't see it while I was inside. And you know what? This isn't just about careers or big life goals. I've felt that tunnel in my cycling and running journey too. I'll never forget one of my 100-mile rides in the summer. Around mile 80, the heat was punishing, and suddenly my legs started cramping. Every climb felt impossible, and I remember thinking, there is no way I'm going to finish this ride. Maybe I should just stop there. And that was my tunnel moment. Pain, doubt, discouragement. It felt endless. But I kept pedaling, sometimes slow, sometimes barely moving. But I refused to quit. And sure enough, mile after mile, the cramps eased, my rhythm came back, and I crossed the finish line. The tunnel broke open, and the light was right there waiting. That ride taught me something important. Sometimes the hardest and the darkest stretches comes right before the breakthrough. You just have to keep moving. So let me share this truth with you. The tunnel never lasts forever. Yes, it feels dark. Yes, it feels endless. But what you don't realize when you're walking through it that the breakthrough might be just a few steps away. And I've seen this pattern again and again, not just in my own life, but in others around me. People often quit, not because they're incapable, but because they gave up too soon. They stopped walking when the light was just around the corner. So what can we learn from the tunnel? First, patience in the process. Growth takes time. Just because you don't see the results right away doesn't mean nothing is happening. Think about seeds buried in the soil. They look invisible for weeks, but underneath, roots are forming. Second, take the next small step. Don't focus on how long or dark the tunnel feels. Just focus on the step you can take today. One step at a time will eventually bring you into the light. Third, hold on to hope. Because hope is not a luxury, it's survival. The belief that light is there keeps you moving forward when everything inside you wants to quit. And you know, as a person of faith, I can't help but also think of this in a deeper way. This life itself feels like a tunnel. We walk through it carrying struggles, doubts, hardships, and sometimes it feels dark. And the ultimate light, that's in the afterlife or the hereafter. It might seem far away, but it's really closer than we think. And sooner than we imagine, the day will come when we step out of this tunnel, when we meet our Creator, and when every hardship finally makes sense. That thought gives me patience. It gives me strength. It reminds me to keep walking, to keep believing, because the tunnel of this life is temporary, and that we will see the light when we meet our Lord with good deeds and pure heart. So here's my challenge for you this week. Think about the tunnel you're in right now. Maybe it's your career. Maybe it's your health. Maybe it's a dream you've put on hold because the road feels too long. Ask yourself, what if the light is closer than I think? Then decide on one action. One small step you can take this week that keeps you moving forward. Send that application. Make that phone call. Write that page. Go for that run. Don't wait for that whole tunnel to brighten. Just keep walking forward, because every step you take is bringing you closer to that light. And let me tell you something, my friends. The tunnel always ends. Darkness doesn't last forever. And the light, the one you're searching for, it might be just closer than you think. Sometimes it feels like we're walking forever, but every step is progress. Every step is proof that you haven't given up. And if you just keep moving, the breakthrough comes. Whether it's in your career, your health, your personal dreams, or in life itself. So don't stop too soon. Don't let the weight of the tunnel convince you that light isn't there. It is. It's waiting, and you might be closer than you think. One day, you'll look back on this season and realize that the struggle wasn't wasted, that it shaped you, strengthened you, and prepared you for the light ahead. So keep walking, keep showing up, and keep believing, because the tunnel is temporary, and the light at the end of the tunnel is closer than you think. That's it for this episode, my friends. And if you like it, please share it with people around you, because we all grow better when we do it together. Every habit you build, every effort you make, it all adds up. So keep showing up, because the small steps you take today are shaping the person you become tomorrow.